Good day, ma'am. We're Group 9 and we're here to present to you our research titled Comparative Study of Leadership Style of the High School Student Council, Club Presidents, and Classroom Chairpersons. For the Chapter 1, it will be presented by Lanniel Sande and Jasper Reyes.
I am Lanniel Victor Sande, and I am here to present the Chapter 1 of our research with John Paul Jones S. Reyes. We chose this study in order to assess the leadership style of the student leaders, so that we can classify whether they are task-oriented or relationship-oriented leaders. With this being said, the main problem of our study is as follows. How are the high school student council leaders, club presidents, and classroom chairpersons compared in terms of leadership style? Researchers also sought answers to the following questions. Number 1. What is the profile of the leaders in terms of organization, gender, and year level? Number 2. What leadership style of the high school student council, club presidents, and classroom chairpersons is manifested the most and the least? Number 3. Is there a significant difference in the leadership style in terms of organization, gender, and year level? There are 3 theories that guided us in conducting this study: the contingency theory, the theory X, and theory Y. The contingency theory is proposed by Fred Fiedler in mid-1960s. It states that the leader's effectiveness depends on whether their leadership style matches the situation. This theory is where we got the 2 leadership styles used in the study, which are task-oriented leadership style and relationship-oriented leadership style. Theory X was proposed by Douglas MacGregor in 1960. It also states that people are naturally lazy and prefer to be supervised. Therefore, the most appropriate leadership style for them is authoritarian. This theory also helped us to substantiate one of the leadership styles used in our study, which is task-oriented. On the other hand, theory Y, which was also proposed by Douglas MacGregor in 1960, states that people are inherently happy to work and are motivated to pursue objectives. Therefore, the most appropriate leadership style for them is non-authoritarian. This theory helps substantiate the other leadership style used in our study, which is relationship-oriented. We have 3 sets of hypotheses. For the first set, the null hypothesis is there is no significant difference of leadership style in terms of organization. The alternative hypothesis is there is a significant difference of leadership style in terms of organization. In the second set, the null hypothesis is there is no significant difference of leadership style in terms of year level. For the alternative, there is a significant difference of leadership style in terms of year level. The third set, the null hypothesis is there is no significant difference of leadership style in terms of gender. For the alternative, there is a significant difference of leadership style in terms of gender. The remaining parts of Chapter 1, it will be presented by Mr. John Paul Jones as Reyes.
The significance of our study is to provide information which leadership style was most used. It is task-oriented or relationship-oriented. So the leaders, we want to identify which is most used among the 2 leadership styles. The data gathered also help the students improve both academic and clinical performance. So it is not just we know which leadership style are most used, but it also helps other students, our fellow students, how to improve their academic and clinical performance in school. In our paper, it defines the student leaders, the values and perspective of being aware of the aid of communication, those they work with it. In the leadership, it is important to have a communication in order to achieve the goals, in order to have a healthy environment, in order to have a good working team. In our paper, it defines the student leaders, the values and perspective of being aware of the aid of communication, those they work with it. In the leadership, it is important to have a communication in order to achieve the goals, in order to have a healthy environment, in order to have a good working team. Student needs to experience leadership opportunities during their education to learn the art of building relationship within teams, defining identities, and achieving tasks effectively. So, it is important also that the student needs an experience of being a leader. It is important that they will be a leader because they will be the future of our community. And by being the future, they need to have an experience of being a leader during their education so that they learn how to build a good relationship within the teams and defining identities. So that is uh, how important uh, that the student needs to have an experience to know which leadership style are applicable in the students of St. Paul College of Bukawi. It is also provide an opportunity to learn to identify and display effective communication and interpersonal skill. As I have mentioned earlier, the importance of communication in the working team, in the importance of communication as a leader and as a member of a group. Leaders have the ability to maintain good interpersonal relations with the followers or subordinates and motivate them to help in achieving the organizational objectives. So, uh, leaders has a ability to maintain good interpersonal relations within the members of his group and to motivate them in order to achieve the organizational objectives. So, how will you achieve that organizational objectives if you don't have a good interpersonal relations and you don't know which leadership style are commonly used? How will you gain that objectives? How will you gain the uh, the specific tasks that you are doing if you don't have a good communication and you don't have a if you don't know which leadership style are applicable to the members, to your members, how it is impossible. So in this study, uh, it identifies the uh, significance of knowing which leadership style was most used. So it is the leadership, it is task-oriented or relationship-oriented. On the scope and delimitation, this study focused on the two leadership style, the task-oriented and relationship-oriented. Data came from the survey questionnaire and answered by the club presidents, classroom chairpersons, and high school student council officers. The research study had a truth knowledge about mostly used leadership style in St. Paul College of Bukawi. So it is clear in this scope, it is clear here in the scope and delimitations that all the data was came from our survey questionnaire, and our research study is to gain knowledge about mostly used leadership style in St. Paul College of Bukawi.
Chapter 3, Methods and Procedure. This chapter presents the research design, respondents of the study, data gathering instrument, data gathering procedure, and the statistical treatment. The research design. This study is comparative method to find out which leadership style is used in leading the students of St. Paul College of Bukawi. Between the two leadership styles, relationship-oriented and task-oriented leadership. Comparative design compared two different groups to attempt to arrive in a conclusion.
Respondents of the study. The respondents of the study came from the High School Department of St. Paul College of Bukawi for research study. They are the High School Student Council, club presidents, and classroom chairpersons. So according to the table 1, which is the frequency and percentage distribution of respondents according to organization, the table shows that 12 or 7% of the respondents are from High School Student Council. 25 or 14% are from the clubs, and 144 or 80% are from the classroom chairpersons, with a total of 181 or 100% respondents. We only get the leaders of the St. Paul College of Bukawi because our topic focuses on leadership style.
Data gathering instrument. The instrument used in the study was Task and Relation Questionnaire. Task and Relation Questionnaire is from Peter North's book, Leadership, Theory and Practices. It is used to measure the leader on which leadership style they are effective. The questionnaire has 10 questions, 5 per each leadership style. It was used to identify how the leader emphasized task and relation behavior in their life.
The data gathering procedure. The researcher used a printed out questionnaires that was distributed to the high school student council officers, high school club presidents, and classroom chairpersons to collect information about the leadership style of leaders. The respondents were given a week to answer the questionnaire. The researchers collected and tallied the collected data using a Microsoft Excel. During the dismissal time, the researchers started to distribute the questionnaires, which allowed the high school student council officers, high school club president, classroom chairpersons to answer the questionnaire uninterrupted.
The statistical analysis. For the descriptive statistical tool, frequency and percentage were used to present the profile of the respondents and to identify which leadership style was used by the student leaders. And weighted mean was used to identify which among task-oriented and relationship-oriented leadership style was manifested the most in these. For the inferential statistical tool, one-way ANOVA was used to know if there is a significant difference on the leadership style in terms of organization in year level. And t-test was used to know if there is a significant difference of leadership style in terms of gender.
So I'm here again to discuss the introduction of the chapter 5, summary of the findings, conclusions, and recommendations. First, we should identify the focus of the study. The focus of the study was to compare the leadership style of the high school student council, club presidents, and classroom chairpersons in St. Paul College of Bukawi. Second, the purpose of the study is to compare which leadership style is used most among the high school student council, club presidents, and classroom chairpersons whenever it is relationship-oriented or task-oriented leadership style. We conducted the research with a limited background of the study, which is the study is regarding the ability of the leaders to identify which leadership style will guide them to achieve their goals in a situation. The theory that guided the research is the contingency theory, which defines that leaders' effectiveness is dependent on how his or her leadership style matches the situation. In this theory also states that task-oriented leaders are most effective when their positional power is high as well as the task structure. Meanwhile, the relationship-oriented, as the constituency theory states that the leaders perform their best when the relationship levels between themselves and followers are the greatest. It means that the relationship are the best, are fit to lead their members, their constituents. The research design used by the researchers is the comparative method, which determines the leadership style is more effective to use in leading the students of St. Paul College of Bukawi. Task and relationship questionnaire is the questionnaire was used by researchers to compare the management style by the leader respondents. To process the data, descriptive statistical tools were used in the study, which are frequency, percentage, and weighted mean. The researchers utilized an inferential statistical tool, especially the one-way analysis of variance or one-way ANOVA, and had come up to the conclusion that there is no significant difference. To compare the leadership style of high school student council and club presidents and classroom chairpersons in St. Paul College of Bukawi.
Good day, I'm Francine Gutierrez, and I'm going to present the summary of the findings. First, what is the profit of the respondent in terms of organization, gender, and grade level? In terms of organization, the data gathered revealed that there are 181 student leaders in the high school department of St. Paul College of Bukawi, wherein 144 or 80% of it are classroom chairpersons, 25 or 14% are club presidents, and 12 or 7% are high school student council officers. In terms of gender, 103 or 57% are female student leaders, while 78 or 43% are male. In terms of grade level, 37 or 20% of the respondents are grade 10, 34 or 19% are in grade 12, 30 or 70% are in grade 11, 29 or 16% are in grade 9, while the grade 7 and 8 are equal in 14%. Second, what is the leadership style of high school student council officers, club presidents, and homeroom chairpersons is manifested the most in the least? Most of the high school student council officers manifested the relationship-oriented leadership style with 10 or 83%, while 2 or 70% are task-oriented. Club presidents manifested the most the relationship-oriented leadership style, with 15 or 60%, while 10 or 40% manifested the task-oriented leadership style. The classroom chairpersons most manifested leadership style is relationship-oriented, with 91 or 60%, followed by the task-oriented leadership style with 31 or 22%, and the least manifested is the task-oriented and relationship-oriented at the same time with 22 or 15%. Third, is there a significant difference of the leadership style in terms of organization? The result states in Table 10 in Chapter 4 that the computed F, which is 7.33, is less than the F critical, which is 9.55. The F did not fall on the rejected region, therefore the null is accepted, which is there is no significant difference on leadership style in terms of organization. Fourth, is there a significant difference on the leadership style in terms of grade level? The result states in Table 11 in Chapter 4 that the computed F, which is 2.71, is less than the F critical, which is 4.39. The F did not fall in the rejected region, therefore the null is accepted, which is there is no significant difference on leadership style in terms of grade level. Fifth, Is there a significant difference on the leadership style in terms of gender? The result states in Table 12 in Chapter 4 that the computed T-stat value of negative 0.78 is less than the T-critical total value of 4.30. The T-stat value did not fall on the rejected region. Therefore, the null is accepted, which is there is no significant difference on leadership style in terms of gender.
Conclusion of the study. 1. Relationship-oriented leadership style is the most manifested leadership style of the student leaders of the high school department of St. Paul College of Bukawi. According to Fiedler's contingency theory, relationship-oriented leaders are good at building good relationships and managing conflicts to achieve their goal. Relationship-oriented leaders are primarily motivate their members, often try to make work experience fun and attempt to have a positive work environment. Based on the data that we have gathered, it concluded that relationship-oriented leadership style is the most leadership style used by the student leaders, with 116 out of 180 student leaders identified to be relationship-oriented leaders. This interprets that Paulinian leaders are focused on building relationships to achieve their goal. Number 2, there are more female leaders than male leaders. According to Jack Zenger and Joseph Hoffman's study, women outscored men on 17 out of 19 capabilities that differentiate excellent leaders from average or poor ones. It is also common information that women mature faster than men. According to a study at Newcastle University in the United Kingdom, girls tend to optimize their brain connection earlier than boys. The data shows that 103 out of 181 respondents are female leaders, meaning most of the student leaders are females. Women are picked to be leaders because of their nature.
In the light of findings and conclusions, the researchers recommends the following. So we came up to the high school student leaders, high school student, high school administration, and future researcher. But first, let's talk about the recommendations to the high school student leaders. They can conduct such activities that will determine which leadership style is most useful and suitable for you. There are two types of leadership style in our study. High school student leaders can be a relationship-oriented leaders which focuses to the relationship with their members. Therefore, task-oriented leaders only focuses to the given task and avoids the relationship with their members. Some incentives or recognitions can be offered to the high school student leaders to encourage them to actively participate in pursuing the goals of St. Paul College of Bukawi. Since our finding shows that the most leaders of St. Paul College of Bukawi use relationship-oriented leadership style. Second recommendation is for the high school student. They can initiate such activities that build their communication and interpersonal skills within the group. Activities such as leadership talk, team building, and such. High school students can also analyze which leadership style is being used by their leaders. If the leader focuses on the relationship with the member, it is relationship-oriented style. And if it focuses to the task that is given, it is task-oriented leadership style. So students can determine what their leader use. High school students can also be a leader, but they must actively participate and be involved to join forces to some leadership talks and team building to support and strengthen their skills. Third recommendation is for the high school administration. They can initiate extracurricular activities like team buildings and leadership talk that can enhance and increase the skills of their student leaders to become more knowledgeable, creative thinker, and strategic in handling such team. It also helps the student leaders to know where leadership style they belong. School administration need to support the leaders by giving them credits and some recognitions that will value their task and role to be a leader. And lastly, for the future researchers, we recommend this study of leadership style that determine if it is relationship-oriented and task-oriented leadership style that is being used. This study not only focuses in the school, but it is applicable for business organizations and companies. They can also add more variables that will ensure and strengthen the effectiveness or impact of leadership style. This research paper can also be helpful for student researchers to be more aware and knowledgeable. Also, they can use this paper for future references and source for leadership style. Last, for the recommendation for the future researchers, they can conduct supporting articles that will prove and strengthen the main topic and support it. As much as possible, many references will be approved. Follow-up study may help also. For example, books, the literatures, related studies, and some online references will do. That is for the recommendation. Thank you.
So that concludes our study. Thank you for listening and God bless.